Sujata Vishnuraj, editor with Manufacturing Today magazine. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this roundtable about Manufacturing Today present Framing the Discussion, the Future of Manufacturing, sponsored by SAP. The agenda of this roundtable is to discuss how to align business, organization, and technology to capture value at the scale for delivering elevated employee and customer experiences and realize better business gains and profitability in the long run. Even companies struggling with hitting production quotas today are already considering what manufacturing will look like in the next 10 to 20 years. Staying competitive demands taking advantage of constantly evolving manufacturing challenges. Technologies just to keep in pace. When asked in interviews, few key industry leaders stress that the focus on technological advancement will continue as they discussed what action manufacturers can take to prepare for the future, what technologies will have the biggest impact on manufacturing, how to invest to prepare for what's to come. This roundtable is an endeavor to unpack the current challenges in the market, how it is shaping the trends of future, and what you can do to prepare. The roundtable will be a platform to forecast the trends that we expect to see, take priority, and discover how to embrace these changes and convert disruption into opportunity of growth and innovation. Thank you for listening to me patiently. And today we have with us Sonali Mule. She's the Director and Head of Tools Production, Sandvik Government. Shrikant Male. He's the Executive Vice President Delivery, Praj Industries. Dr. Ravindra Udgikar is the Vice President Corporate Strategy and Marketing, Praj Industries. Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, he's the Head of Business and Development, Renishaw India. Sandhya Pandey, she is the Director and Site Leader Connected Care Business, Philips HIC Pune. Aditi Sharma, she's the Group Chief Quality, Vedanta Group. Vishwajit Singh, he's the Plant Head, Bridgestone India Private Limited. Saurabh Gupta is the Integrated Supply Chain Leader and Senior Plant Manager with Honeywell. Robinson Joseph, he's the Manufacturing Engineering Leader, Cummins India. Rishikesh Kulkarni, COO, Zimmer Automation Private Limited. And from SAP, we have Mr. Sandeep Mandana, who is the Solution Director, Digital Supply Chain and Manufacturing, SAP India. And Mr. Krishnan Ramaswamy, who is the Managing Director and Domain Consultant, Systema Automation India Private Limited. I would request each one of you to introduce yourself in 1 minute. So we can begin with Sonali.
Good evening, everybody. I am Sonali Bhure.
So I am working with Sandvik for last 11 years. I'm a mechanical engineer and have done my MBA from Symbiosis. And I have more than 25 years of experience in manufacturing. And I started my career with Dana Group, and then I moved to Canada where I worked for Comtech for 5 years. Then I was working for John Deere for supply chain, and now I am heading the tools production unit in Pune for Sandvik Government.
Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rahul Desle. I am a Head of Marketing at Renishaw India. I am also a Smart Manufacturing Brand Ambassador for Renishaw India. I have 18 years of experience in different fields, worked with Philips, FMCG. Last 8 years I have been in the manufacturing industry. It's fantastic to be here. Thank you.
Good evening all. Robinson Joseph. In the industry since last 25 years into manufacturing engineering particularly. Just last 6 months with Cummins. And previous to that I was with John Deere. And in John Deere I was with the manufacturing engineering, and even for few times I was in Turkey for setting up the facility over there. Also in John Deere, Argentina, spent the time setting up a facility over there.
Good evening everyone. I am Rishikesh Kulkarni from Zimmer Automation. Zimmer Automation is basically a German company working in providing handling solutions. I have 15 plus years of experience. And now I am on an assignment of setting up the manufacturing setup for Zimmer in India. Come July, our factory construction will start, and the idea is Zimmer India will be the place from where we'll be catering to the Asia market. So we are in that interesting phase of Zimmer, where we are getting serious into manufacturing in India and exporting to the world. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting for this roundtable. My name is Shrikant Vade. I'm the delivery head at Praj, and I'm working in this capacity at Praj for last 2 years. Prior to joining Praj, I was working with Thermax for almost 30 years, heading the operations there. And as a part of my career tenure at Thermax, I also had the opportunity to set up 2 plants, one in China and running it for 5 years, and then another one in south of India. At Praj, I'm leading the manufacturing and the procurement divisions.
Hi everyone, I'm Saurabh Gupta. I'm from Honeywell Process Solutions. Working in this industry from last 20 years and associated with Honeywell from 10 years. I'm right now leading the Process Solutions integrated supply chain in India and plant head for facility we have in Pune. And before joining Honeywell, I was working for the LG Electronics and having a domain knowledge of sourcing, procurement, materials management. And from last 1 year, I'm into the plant operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujata, for inviting, and it's been a pleasure to be among industry stalwarts. I'm a dreamer, I'm an engineer. My whole mission, and I'm passionate to take India to the next level. I'm working with Renishaw, and we do provide measurement solutions, so we help people to make things faster, more quality. If we do that, we will become the #1 in the world, and that's why I'm very passionate about it. Thank you to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aditi Sharma. I'm heading the quality for Vedanta Group. Very different from the industry which you all are in, and I was in. So 2 years with Vedanta. Prior to that, I was 11 years with Cummins, and I have 28 years in total. Very passionate about manufacturing because I was measuring manufacturing all the time, right? I was a quality head. I am the quality head right now. And there's a lot which I think I want to share today. What comes in my mind, specifically looking at things from the very root level. If you go to all these mines and you see the way things happen, to where we see here in automobile sector specifically. So I think I'm looking forward for the discussion today.
I've been with Bridgestone since 27 years, and I worked in capacity of various roles and responsibilities across manufacturing. In my current role as a plant head, it has been almost 3.5 years, and I'm really looking into various opportunities to drive manufacturing excellence. And of course, there are obvious key levers to do that, but then I am really excited to hear more from the experts, all learned, the colleagues here, and looking forward for a great discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Sandhya Pandey. Currently I am working with Philips, around 28 years of experience, out of that 25 years in automobile industry. And from last 18 months, I moved into healthcare industry. We manufacture medical devices. In my all previous assignment, in automobile industry, I worked with General Motors, Eaton Corporations, Eicher, and Cummins India. Interestingly, and I think that's an advantage for me as well. I worked in all 3 functions: product development, that's R&D, plant operations, and manufacturing industry. So I worked into the life cycle of developing new product, launching the product, preparing the production, and then actually producing the product and launching that into the market. And from last 18 months, I moved to the business function, where except front-end sales and marketing, I handle all the functions. We started this business in India from the greenfield. I have 3 businesses: emergency care, then connected hospital patient monitoring, and ventilators. We call it as sleep and respiratory products. So except front-end sales and marketing, we support everything from India. And manufacturing happens in Germany, USA. These are the 2 locations. But what is required: supply transfer, readiness for the manufacturing, product design development, supply chain, everything we handle it from India. And that's how this business is getting shaped up in India.
Okay, good evening. My name is Ravindra Gudkikar. Just like my colleague Shrikant, I represent a company called Praj Industries. Praj Industries is involved in accelerating energy transition through the bioeconomy. So in other words, we make biofuels, biochemicals, so as to minimize the greenhouse gas emissions. So our mission is sustainable climate action. On the personal side, I've been in the industry for over 3 decades, and probably Sujata chose only one outlier here, that's me, because I'm not coming from core manufacturing domain. I am more like a corporate strategy man. So my 3 decades of experience across all 5 continents, having traveled around 40 odd countries, is into market entry, market growth strategies, evolving corporate strategies, mergers, acquisitions, joint ventures, strategic alliances, and so on. In my role, I have seen prior to working with Praj, I have worked with Sterlite, which is also Vedanta Group company, and for over a decade with Suzlon, also with Honeywell. So a number of different companies, control, process automation, power, transmission, energy automation, renewable energy. So different varied industry experience. In my previous roles, I have seen our company expand footprints and set up manufacturing facilities in China. That was while in Suzlon and also while in Brazil. So I have been seeing the manufacturing grow from a general management or a corporate point of view. Very excited to be here to share some perspectives, and I hope you'll find them valuable. Thanks again for inviting.
Thank you, everyone. Before I hand over moderator today, one simple request, let's keep the answers very concise and precise, because the topic is vast, and if we start talking about it, it will never stop. So in the interest of time, let's keep our answers simple and concise. Mr. Krishnan, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, I'm audible, right? So thank you very much on behalf of personally myself as well as SAP. Thank you for making it, because I know that your time is stressed for other purposes, but it is important that we get a wide variety of knowledge, because this is the future for India, because India is going to be one of those fastest growing economies and going to be the core for any manufacturing point of view. So we have around 5 questions, so we will try to make it anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes. So we have around 2 to 3 speakers. So after they finish, maybe I would just ask anybody if they would like to have a point of view to add to that particular point, or we would like to keep it to the time. So with this, I would still like to start. We just came out of a very tough situation like COVID, and then we took off. So in a market where we don't have any demand to complete demand. So let me start with somebody from Cummins, Robinson. Sir, how do you feel that you could manage the situation, and how in the world do you see that Industry 4.0 can enhance your experience on this?
So thanks for giving the opening question to me.
Yes, sir.
So others are relieved. So see, this COVID actually has taught us many things. Okay, we had to unlearn and then relearn. If you look, the demand went down when we had COVID. A lot of surplus of inventory was there initially. Okay, and what the industry expected was that we are going to sit on this surplus of inventory. And because of that, your suppliers were, tapered down, they were toned down. But what happened exactly was the opposite when we reopened. It was a fast U-shaped recovery. And if I look at what technology has actually supported, we understood that your standard planning tool or demand forecast tools were not actually capable of handling such kind of a recovery. Okay, that was one. So it was a downturn as well as a recovery. So first thing was, getting into tools where we have analytical tools for demand and forecast planning. Okay, that was one part for the planning and logistics area, which definitely helped a lot. I believe that even today, there are most of the industries are still working upon their existing planning and logistics tool. The second one is that we always spoke of digitizing the manufacturing, okay, but it was always considered as a luxury. If you look in Indian context, because when we spend a penny, we look at the business case. We look at the ROI. Okay. So when you speak of digitization part, it's always the ROI that was coming into picture first. COVID taught us not to look at ROI always. Okay. And that's when you look at leveraging your digital twin. So you have opportunity with your digital twin to do simulations and find out in what scenario, what kind of an operation tool, what kind of systems, what kind of processes. Even the layouts were getting simulated at times. Okay, so starting from your logistics to your supply chain, you could see that digitization was driving faster. We were, I believe, before COVID, most of us were using Excel reports, okay, for our morning meetings. Today, most of us rely on BI reports. So we have gone from, so industry 3.0, we actually jumped from there to industry 4.0. So if you look at India, we actually never had an opportunity to do industry 3.0 at its fullest. We had to actually jump from 3.0 to 4.0. So that's what actually taught us.
Thank you, sir. So, Rishikesh, right, now that the end user is transforming himself from 3.0 to 4.0 as a machine manufacturer or somebody who is trying to provide them the solutions, how do you see this?
Actually, I would say, I'm very happy and thanks for having me here, because now what I see is, all the stalwarts of the manufacturing sector are sitting here, and the biggest question is how do you meet the demand? And that's where exactly, Zimmer probably could be of a helping hand. So people, are talking about COVID times. I would say COVID was a great wake-up call for all Indian companies. As Mr. Robinson rightly said, it actually pushed us to understand the importance of being Industry 4.0 compliant company, because everyone was using this buzzword in all the trade shows, in all seminars, and everyone was actually, saying that, we have products, we have processes, which are Industry 4.0 compliant, but nobody actually used it. Everyone wanted to have a feature, but no one was willing to use it. So, the biggest transformation I would say is post-COVID, because everyone was compelled to, getting into that particular zone, it became an absolute necessity from being a luxury earlier. So I would say that, now Industry 4.0 is a way of life for many of the manufacturing companies in India. And if I have to recall one of my very interesting conversations during Intex, someone came and asked me in an interview, what is Zimmer's contribution in Industry 5.0? I said, what? What is Industry 5.0? That you have started discussing. Now, I mean, that's how fast, the industry is evolving. That's my point. So, going way forward, I would say, one of the most important things that India has to, or rather the Indian manufacturing companies will have to look at is how flexible we are in terms of, quickly changing our certain processes, understanding, what the market needs, and how quickly, we can turn around the things. Yeah. So, agility, exactly, that's what I meant. And glad that, in India, Zimmer made, the management in Zimmer Group decided that, we have to decentralize manufacturing. We just cannot be, saying that, we'll manufacture in Germany and then we'll have a good supply chain system, which will cater to all the subsidiaries. We were having a global footprint in 27 countries. So just imagine 27 countries, our factory is working with 20% capacities and, things not working out, everyone waiting for the material. So one of the biggest gains personally for Zimmer was that, they decided that, okay, we come to India and, we set up a manufacturing setup. So I'm glad that, we are I get an opportunity to talk to all you stalwarts. So, looking forward to some really great insights. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, 1 second, sir. I'll finish up with Vishudhi the next point. Vishudhi, now you heard the engine manufacturer and the machine manufacturer. As a tire manufacturer, you have one more challenge. OEM, they just shut shop. Then the aftermarket, no trucks were running. To now, you have another market, which is EV. Some of your world are going to manufacture flexibility and what is Industry 4.0?
Yeah, I think rightly said. Given this all VUCA word, what we have learned now is given this fluctuating demand always, how do we align ourselves with this changing demand? And industry like ours, which is asset heavy, our fixed costs are very high. If we do not utilize our capacities, to the fullest, we are doing fine. Because if we run it, let's say 70%, but we say we meet demand, we are actually killing our margins. The margins that our industry, asset heavy industries, are not fitting with the. If we do double digit, it's a great achievement. So in such scenario, the biggest hit comes to the profitability. So the challenge for us is the way we plan our expansions and the way we bring our technology. It has to be a really, really optimized techniques. And rather than doing a big bang, we go with a very modular approach, trying to do phased expansion while we learn. That's how if we are able to run at 100%, our 90% problems are solved. Having done that, the second challenge which comes to us is the cost, the unit cost of our products. We all, of course, do a lot of cost reduction measures like other companies does, but having beaten the numerator to the death, then the challenge comes to the denominator. That how do we do the more with less? So that is the area where now we are focusing, and which translates into a manufacturing excellence journey, which translates into the loss reduction. And in doing so, we need good tools, processes, systems. And of course, people will be always said about it. While I talk of the tools, process and systems, then we need a kind of a loss analysis, which has to be not only Excel, but which has to be a system level, which needs upgradation of our data gathering mechanism for MES systems, and also some, for flexibility or agility, it should be at the fingertip of the concerned people. The information sharing should be very good. And all this call for really looking into every corner of available technology, whether it is creating our own data like cloud-based, the architecture, go for a bigger thing, but also for a kind of a culture in people where they invest data, they talk about data analytics, predictive analytics, and of course, as Joseph mentioned about the digital twins. So all these areas we have been looking, and post-COVID we had a roadmap plan for us, a journey which is more of a modular approach. For phase one investment is more, the low-hanging fruits where we get the immediate benefit, but then in a longer journey we would like to invest in integrated supply chain, MES upgradations and so on. And I think today I look for this opportunity to get some insights, what others have done, and then some available technologies and solutions which is more useful for us.
Thank you, sir. So Ravindra sir, 1 minute, the next question is coming to you anyway. You had a point to add.
No, so actually I was prompted.
Yes, sir.
So no, I was just prompted by what Rishikesh just talked about Industry 5.0, and I just wanted to make 2 quick points that undoubtedly Industry 4.0 or all earlier industrial revolutions have helped poverty eradication, up the GDP, help improve quality of life. But there is a wide awareness that it has all come at the expense of climate change. So the Industry 5.0 is a lot about human-centric development and also about inclusion of sustainability. So ESG is the new ECG for businesses. I'm sure in our discussions it will come up. But the last one I want to talk about is, as the world's most populous nation, India has the highest working population with high demographic dividend, average age of 29. So if we really dovetail on the technology curve, will we be able to create quality jobs? And that's why Industry 5.0 has cobots, collaborative robots, which means humans alongside robots, and also sustainable materials, which is bioeconomy. So that's how the industry will move forward, is the way I think. That's a quick 2 cents.
Thank you very much, sir. So now that we have set the context that we are moving into a situation where India is going to lead. Okay? But does the world see us that way? So the first question to you, being a marketing and a strategy advisor, China plus strategy, how are you seeing it and what is the global demand for a OEM like you? How do you really perceive your missions?
So this is a great starting point. China plus one strategy is being talked about and how India is readying itself for it. So there are a number of ways we are trying to move forward. I mean, the government is pushing a lot of emphasis on Make in India, production-linked incentives, trying to cut down the red tapeism to attract foreign direct investments, ease labor laws, land bills. I mean, there are a number of things government is doing. But the big way we can harness the China plus one opportunity is by mainstreaming the MSMEs. There are some 634 lakh MSMEs that are registered in India today. I mean, this is 2021 data. The number is only going to go. There are 90,000 startups that are registered, and many of them are unicorns. Some of them are unicorns, mainly on the tech side. So if India was to capitalize this China plus one growth opportunity, it needs to mainstream the MSME sector. How do you mainstream the MSME sector? Create awareness, train them, handhold them, make them aligned to the sustainable manufacturing, green manufacturing. There are lots of it because they are devoid of resources, finances, knowledge. So that's where the big boys can actually develop a tier 2, tier 3 kind of a ecosystem. The last point is the manufacturing need to shift from traditional strongholds of Western and Southern India to probably other parts of India. Because if the energy transition was really to happen, which means we move away from a coal economy, we'll have to create jobs in the northeastern states. So some 30 crore population today is on, and I think Vedanta is here, she will talk passionately about it, how we are very, very dependent on hard to abate mineral, mine, metal, coal sectors. So if we are to really capitalize in two sense of sustainable development, we have to one, mainstream the MSMEs, take them along. Two, try to spread the manufacturing footprints to areas which are more devoid of the jobs, which will obviously call for reskilling, retraining and whatnot. But indeed the opportunity is there for taking. The world is looking at us. The big challenge for India is how does it make a tightrope walk of honoring its nationally determined contribution to fulfill net zero objectives and striking a fine balance of slowing down coal, that's what India says, not phasing down coal, and still create value addition for the northeastern states.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Sanjay, do you want to follow up on what Ravindra sir just said?
So I think it's a great point what sir has made, that the opportunity is there, but do we have the capacity to, I think, realize that opportunity? So I think the most exciting part around the world, and why I think I follow up from your question, how does the world see us? I think they're scared of us, if I'll be very honest. Because why the world is scared and I will be honest, we work with the lowest amount of productivity. We all know this. We may not choose to say that. So if with the lowest amount of the productivity, the amount of opportunity in the business that what we have right now, if we are able to improve our productivity level even by, say, 5%, imagine what we could do. That's why the world is scared of us. The challenges in what sir is talking about, there is still larger parts of the country where there's nothing, like northeastern part and the other part. So that adds to the excitement that there's so much room there where we can grow. So overall, I think as Prime Minister has said, it's Amrut Kal. In reality, we all know that. Whether we choose to say that word or not, that's our prerogative. But India is marching ahead and it is scaring the world. The thing is that we have to keep on improving the productivity and recognize that we are not good at it. We are really not good at it.
So let me hold on to that thought. So we are now moving into the area of productivity, right? So the next question is, does our current solutions or technology help us achieve it? Because we can always blame people, but if people are not enabled, how do you expect them to deliver? So I would hand it over to Ms. Sandhya, madam. Madam, do you see that the current technologies in terms of Industry 4.0, are they helping people learn? Maybe after Sandhya, madam, you can help us out with that answer. So, over to you.
Okay, I really enriched today perspective on what you are putting forward. I will bring some little different perspective. Ravindra sir has touched about ESG, sustainability, how ESG will come, right? If we do the recycling, reuse of the parts of the equipment. Circular economy. How the circular economy will come into picture. If you start focusing on platforms, standardization, modularity, and only change, replace, reuse only those parts, modular standardization of it. And that's how we have to start looking into the future of manufacturing. One more perspective, Vishwajit sir has mentioned very carefully about how to invest, when to invest, what to invest. It's all CapEx, capital intensive industry, capital intensive equipments. COVID has made us very wise how, when, where to invest. Everybody we know that same situation was there with software, and they came up with the software as a solution concept. SaaS. Okay. The future of manufacturing is with PaaS. Right? Let me tell you what is PaaS. It is a product as a solution. Okay. Our development and go into the standardization modularity. Now, when we start from this aspect towards manufacturing, then what will come as a future of manufacturing, right? The companies will not own the asset, they will lease the assets. The companies who are manufacturing those assets will have a continuous flow of the business in terms of maintaining service, spare part of that equipment, and also being a standardization, platformization, modularity, will have an opportunity to change only those portions of the equipment, of the system, to bring it to compatible to the new technologies and the new equipments. That will also create lot of more circularity into the industry, right? Because you have a trained staff to really take care of all these equipments in the market. So reskilling, upskilling of the people, all those value chain will start growing, and you will have end-to-end solutions across all the businesses. And for that, you need to start deploying related technology, because if somebody is maintaining and owning that asset and somebody else is using that asset, right? Then you have to start deploying IIoT on those equipment where we continuously monitor the performance, operations, productivity, in energy consumptions, right? Maintenance, uptime, downtime of that equipment. So your IIoT will come into picture, your digital twins will come into picture, how big data is required, AI, MI will into come picture. So all those technologies will start getting associated, and we'll have a deeper and deeper applications, usage, involvement of those technologies into overall plant operations and the manufacturing operations. And then Ravindra sir has again, Rishikesh sir has again mentioned about Industry 5.0. We are already entered into, we have our leg into Industry 5.0. We are using cobots, right? We are using digital twins. We are having a sustainability focused approach. We are having the person assisted or the people focused automations, people focused driving those technologies into the market. So what is important for right now going into the future, we continuously keep upbeat of the industry, upbeat the future of the industry by deploying the new concept like PaaS.
Today, software industry, why it is growing so much? Because of the SaaS, no code, low code kind of activities, right? We also need to find it out into our product, how quickly we can move to those scenarios where you use product as a service and then modulars, changing those systems to continuously research and maintain the sustainability, reuse the part, reuse the system, produce only those systems which needs to be upgradation and deployed onto the systems and equipment. I think that's the future of manufacturing.
Thank you, madam. So, while madam has talked us about the current situation as the future of manufacturing, and being in the healthcare industry, she has been already on the verge of manufacturing 5.0. So, madam, from your perspective, how did you train your shop floor people, right, to accept the current technologies, as well as, because manufacturing shop is a challenging environment and every day is a new day.
Yeah.
And when it comes around, it is always different, and then training people also is a thing. So, madam, your point of view on that.
Thank you, Sandhya. And that's a very good point. And I think digitization is something which we all are towards it. And the main important aspect of digitization is upskilling of your workforce. And I think that can only come if you have you can always get the right software, right systems in place. But if you need to train people how to use it, because I have seen that tools are available in the market. Like we are using OE, overall efficiency equipment, where you can know like we have 8 plants across the globe, and anywhere they can find out how much your machine is working, what are the losses, but are we using that data for right analysis? Are we carrying out the right analysis with data? That is where I think we have a big gap. And to do that, we need to upskill our people. They should know what methodology we need to use to come back to the right. And I think where Sandvik has played, like when we were researching in the market, we found that IoT and all this has been very much customized. Each industry segment has used as per their needs, the industry 4.0. So in metal cutting industry, when we were looking for IoT for ourselves, we found that it's really not readily available in the market. And upskilling people to this, scale was not, there was a gap in the market. So what we decided, we will build our own digital capability center. So we have built a very state-of-art capability center at our Pune location, where we have tied up with a German partner, and we have created a lab, a digital lab, where people can learn. We have machines, the equipments with all the sensors, where people can learn on mechatronics, the new 3D printing, which we have also acquired a new company in 3D printing, then hydraulics, everything you can go and learn in a lab. So we have created modules. So we have engaged people from the industry to create the training sessions for our employees, and that we have recently done, and we are getting such a good feedback. So I think it's very good to bridge that gap between what industry is looking for and what academia is there. So I think that's a very good step we have taken, and we have created a good modules for employees, and I think that modules we have already started delivering it, and people are really getting benefited of that. And at the end of each module, they have been asked to come up with a project, and that's really good projects they are coming out in digital sphere. So I think that is something I will recommend you to please visit us, see our digital capability center, and let's collaborate on that.
Madam, this was one of the questions which I wanted to ask, whether we are invited or whether.
Of course. Yes.
And I would request manufacturing today to cover this as a topic. Thank you, madam.
Can I add something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your question was on the whether we have the right technologies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, definitely we have the right technologies in India. Companies have the solutions for Industry 4.0. We've been talking about Industry 4.0 for many, many years now. But are the industries really having a separate budget for it? So whenever we go as a solution for Industry 4.0, companies doesn't have a budget. They want to change their shop floor overnight without having a budget, which is not possible. Industry, whether it is from the overseas, companies from overseas or Indian industries, they do have definite technologies which can support the Industry 4.0 to the full-fledged before we go into Industry 5.0. But what the manufacturers have to decide is to take it in a phased manner. And I think that needs a lot of training. So that is what we do at Renisha. To add to your point and ma'am's point, is that we have put up technology centers across India. In Pune, we have a technology center. Recently, we inaugurated a technology center in Bangalore. We also have a technology center in Gurgaon and Vadodara, where we get the shop floor,
People.
operators and train them on our solutions and how they can automate their shop floor. Not just that, we've been regularly inviting students from engineering colleges, and we are also going and delivering our lectures to the engineering colleges. And I think that is the need of an hour, that we train the shop floor employees so that they are able to implement these solutions at their factories. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So I would now come to Aditi, madam. Now that we are talking about big centers, highly what I would call as a sophisticated manufacturing, like tool manufacturing, to suddenly mines and places where this type of industry 4.0 is talked about, but practical challenges are there. So how do we take an incremental step to make it more efficient little bit? And do you see all these industry 4.0 tools really useful in those places?
Yeah, so the industry is very, very different.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is not only the kind of work which is very critical and also very unsafe, if I may say, if we don't use all the processes. And unless you go there, you don't realize the criticality of work. And if you go to some of the mines of Vedanta, specifically if you go to the zinc mines, you will see the amount of automation and technology that they have used. The usage of Industry 4.0, even to do the exploration of mines, even to do the, how should I say, even when they have to extract, see, in the mines, when we take the metal, there is an overload and there is a metal. So every metal has overload. What you extract out of it is important, because otherwise you will throw what Mother Earth has given to us. And that entire thing, to plan that what should be your blast, to make sure that what kind of metal is extracted from that blast. Everything happens through digital and Industry 4.0 right now. So that is one process in mining.
Exactly.
But after that, if you look at once the metal comes out, from making it from ore to ingots and rods, there is a whole process industry in itself. And I think there is a huge amount of opportunity for everybody to go and work with these companies to do the automation, to have the right tools, because there's a lot of time goes into curing, there is a lot of heat control, chemical control, acid control, which is required. It goes from literally looking like mud to becoming powder, to then becoming slurry, to then getting into, we add some additives to get to the right grade, and then move it to the next level. Even the coal, for example, we don't use coal directly. We first process coal. So it gets burned, becomes coke, and coke gets...
Coke, yeah.
Yeah. So that industry is actually very heavy engineering industry. When we think about mine, we just think people go dig, come and bring it. That's just one part of it. And hence my 2 years in that industry told me that, the more we put automation, digitization tools there, the lesser will be the problem in the next industry, which is going to effective right metal. So for everybody, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity, definitely, to go to the underground mines. It gives you lots of respect for people who work there. And it also is an eye opener to see what level of automation is happening. They've gone to the extent that you sit here and you can do the blast, and then, which area, how much blast will give what kind of metal recovery from the thing. So big market for Industry 4.0 and digitization is the mining industry, definitely.
Thank you, madam. So you see that people are now, because mining is a market there, but the end users are people who are not so well off in terms of safety and all those things. So how is the people who are coming from a rural part of the economy able to adapt to these technologies? They are the best people as because sometimes overeducated guys don't do the job well.
Actually, if you, I can only talk about Vedanta because that's the only place where I've worked in mines. If you see the way they are hiring people right now, they have, the first metal mining engineer women. They are taking lots of women who are first generation education. In their family, they're the first women who have got educated. And they go and work in these areas. And in mines, we also have a kind of commitment to take the locals to come and work because they're much closer to the environment, to the Mother Earth, and their sentiments are very different. I think they are feeling more and more confident going to work right now because of the safety norms which has increased in the mining fraternity. Definitely, unlike automobile where just a chip or a cut becomes fatality, their fatality actually means loss of life.
Exactly.
And companies constantly work on identifying not only the PPs but and that's where another place where digital and industry 4.0 works to do the risk assessment of every single application which is happening there. Even the tire of the pressure of the tire of the vehicles which are running in mines can lead to toppling of the vehicles, and that's why you will see a lot of safety norms in terms of which vehicle came, which is gone, the RFIDs they use, are those right vehicles or not. Everything needs lesser human intervention because if there is any human error, it leads to fatality. So locals are coming, they are telling, when you meet them, they say 40 years back it never used to be like this. We never had coveralls, we never had this. So companies are moving to the next level of safety, and the locals and the people, and this is the industry which is giving jobs to people who otherwise
really
are not,
matter, yeah.
otherwise not getting jobs. So I think, and they run in generations. This person, his next generation, everybody works in the same mine. So I think that generation wise, they are seeing that there are changes coming because of technology. So yeah, super excited time for going and the biggest theme these companies have is making, unlike China plus one, I think the biggest theme these companies have is being India self-sufficient rather than we going out and taking.
And trying to get the coal and everything from Australia or somewhere else. Yeah.
See, unfortunately, coal getting from Australia is one of the things which we may have to still continue because the grade of coal which we get in India is inferior. But what they are saying that why do we have to get zinc? We have to be we are the number 2, I think, in the world when it comes to zinc, number 1 when it comes to silver. So, we have to become self-sufficient for our country and then we should become net exporter. And that's how we have to make in India a success. And all of it through e-auctions and everything, there's so much of digital which happens in these companies. It is surprising. And the commitments which companies have, I see a little bit lack of commitment when it comes to our industry, my erstwhile industry. I see more commitment when we go to mining industry because it is just raw and they're seeing the fruits coming way faster.
Thank you, madam. So we are running 10 minutes late, so I would request another 10 more minutes from the chair. So the point is that now that we have had an overall perspective about future of 5.0 and then what is happening currently, as end users, Srikanth sir and Saurav sir, could you summarize? You are the plant managers, you are delivering it on a day-to-day basis. So how do you see these technologies getting adopted by the people? And how do you see the youth adopting it or the university people coming out of the university? And you see that whether technologies can do something more for you. So first Srikanth sir, then Sauravji.
Yeah. So let me give a little perspective of our industry as such. Yeah. So we come from typical engineering fabrication industry. And if you see the the entire spectrum of industry sitting here, probably you can also imagine industry 4.0 technologies, the way it is getting implemented in, the variety of industries. Probably ours is little bit, at the back end. Because traditionally the auto industry is where the automation started first and all the technology started coming up there. The automation, because of the standardization that happened there. Our kind of industry is such that we are low volume, high variety, and we have very limited scope for standardization because we are made to order project type of industry. So typically in this kind of industry, it's very difficult to imagine the kind of automation that could be happening at other places. So when it comes to industry 4.0 technologies, we think of it from both the perspectives. The difference that you see on the shop floor in terms of manufacturing processes and the difference you see in terms of the business processes that are happening around manufacturing. So the digitization part there. I would say that both the aspects we have progressed quite well, maybe not to the tune of the other industries as such, but we realize the importance and why, like she said, that safety is one of the prime importance in mining industry. So it has driven that investment. For us, the scarcity of skilled labor is a major issue, for which we find that these days getting skilled welder is a very tough task. So how do I minimize, de-skill the operation and get smart machines, which will help me that any person who has got little bit inferior welding skills also, I could be able to manage because the machine will take care of it. Or the fixturing that I'll do, that will take care of it. The mechanization will take care of it. So those are the aspects on which we have started working on, and we are aggressively working on that. That if I have to, compete with China, again, for us, the competition is China or the other peers of our industry who are typical MSME and where they could be coming with very cheaper cost. Both, China itself because of the higher productivity levels. Having worked in China, I very well know that what could be the difference in terms of productivity. So if you have to compete with both of these, the extreme ends, we need to think of how do we avoid that variability in quality, win over the international customers, and gain the productivity. So for that, these are the things which we are, implementing on shop floor. May not be very high tech as such, but these are, I would say, the steps towards, definitely moving towards the industry 4.0 technology. If we are able to mechanize today, we can definitely automate it tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. So over to Saurav, sir. So your experience of being a plant guy who is going to use these technologies, what's your point of view, sir?
See, I would say manufacturing requires 6 things: safety, quality, delivery, cost, inventory, and people. All are the important aspects of the manufacturing environment and supply chains. And I would say Aditi ma'am said, yeah. So they are one of the customers for us. So it's really good opportunity for me to hear from the customer's mouth exactly the safety challenges which this industry is facing. And since we are into the National Safety Week and zero harm is a theme, so from Honeywell point of view, I would say we have a lot of focus on sustainability and on digitization to move to Industry 4.0. The industry, again, from Honeywell perspective, we are a big conglomerate. Again, we have having different verticals of the businesses. We are into chemicals, we are into aerospace, and it's from high volume industry to a discrete manufacturing. And again, for discrete manufacturing type of industries, Industry 4.0 is what? So that is exactly still a question. Exactly, we are talking about Industry 5.0, but do we have a real penetration of Industry 4.0? For discrete manufacturing, for MSMEs we talk about, right? So Industry 4.0 is basically, for a layman point of view, it's just a blending of,
same technology put into a different
cover.
It's
a data, basically, I would say physical world and human world, we are blending them together, right? And I think at the plant level, if you see, we are still not sure exactly what are the data points. So I think the first step is to start collecting the data points, right from, the way we are getting the raw material from the suppliers, getting the raw material into the warehouses, issuing the raw material from warehouse to the shop floor. There are a lot of data points which get generated from arrival of raw material till it get packs and it get shipped to a customer. So all those data points are something which we are trying to capture, and based upon those data points, we are trying to have more decision making as well. That is what exactly we see as Industry 4.0. And on sustainability side, again, I think that is the future basically,
Yeah.
And
no earth, no life.
Yeah, definitely you have to adapt to the industry for the sustainability stuff. Where again, company like ours are doing a lot of efforts, and right now from the plant's point of view, manufacturing point of view, we are talking on scope 1, scope 2, but definitely scope 3 is something which is definitely in force. People in future will talk about sustainability index, so these are some things where definitely a lot of focus is required, not only using the green energy, not only ensuring that we are having a low emissions. So it's more of a bringing sustainability products as well into the market. So we are working on those lines, and definitely in terms of, I would say, training our people for the future. I think I would say in last 3 or 4 years we have seen a big transformation. We have seen disruptions which probably in centuries we have not seen, right? So what next? What disruption is coming up next? Are we prepared? So do we have a structure in place?
Maybe dollar will become 1:3.
We really don't know. There could be, another pandemic, or there could be, some geopolitical issues going on. So we really don't know. It is bringing a lot of opportunity as well to a country like India. But again, are we ready for the disruptions? That is something which definitely we need to, structure around. We need to have some processes around. We need to have some people to think on that aspects. That is what we need to prepare. And the second thing, I think, transformation. The industry is transforming. The way we were working a decade or 2 decades back, probably we cannot continue with the same processes. Every 10 years, the transformation is happening in the industry. And I think if we want to look for the future, so a lot of transformation is required, a lot of skill up is required in terms of, people who are working for us on various technologies, what we discussed. So I think that is a future basically, and that is for that kind of stuff. Again, in a country like India, probably we need a lot of collaboration. As an industry, we only cannot, one industry cannot do it. We need a partnership, and we need a party of, some industries. They have to come up with their own technologies. Some have to come with the sustainable solutions. We need engagement of MSMEs. We need an engagement of startups to make it happen.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, you have 1 minute, please. Like Arnab, I'm telling, final, sir.
Yeah. So no, I just wanted to make a comment in closing that if you are discussing future of manufacturing, it is incomplete without the MSMEs. Just one more time driving the point, because after agriculture, it is the second largest employer in the country. It accounts for 30% of our GDP. It accounts for 50% of our exports. These numbers are staggering. So if we don't tag along MSMEs, we won't have developed nation status as the Prime Minister is envisaging. We will never have sustainability. And we must be mindful that MSMEs also contribute 25% of greenhouse gas emissions, which means that if India really wants to become a developed nation, really wants to achieve sustainability goals, we'll have to give massive emphasis and focus to actually work with MSMEs to bring them to a level where the growth is inclusive and not really limited to big brands and big names. That's the point I want to make.
Thank you very much.
We need to bridge that gap between institution research and industry applications.
So maybe like what Madam was talking about, bringing school students and university students to the classrooms.
Absolutely.
There is no one standard solutions which will run across this. Actually, there is no script. Each industry, whether it's a mining industry or whether it's a healthcare industry, I'm taking two extreme industries because they work into very difficult environment, and we have to create that environment where it won't affect onto the end patient safety. We are very focused on patient safety and quality. So each industry have to have their own ecosystem developed, own technology development, deployment, right? And then use it for the best possible way to improve their top line and bottom line. At the end of the day, why do you want to deploy this, right? It's how it shows the positive impact on your top line and bottom line. And that's where each industry has to come up with their own ecosystem, own solution, and own way of developing. And that's where the business model innovations will come into picture. How you define your business model, how you define your process model, and in that particular model, what technology you can deploy, what technology you can use, which will ultimately achieve your business goal or your corporate goal. I think that's the
Thank you,
the
madam,
whole
for
summary of
summarizing
it.
I think
everything,
just
in a
last
very
point. I
concise
think
way.
just last point. I think we have to drive it as a mission. You know, all industries, all technologies, startups, institutes, and definitely MSMEs. So that has to be a mission to achieve this. It's not only, you know, we cannot depend upon one industry to bring everything. So it's a mission for all of us.
Thank you, Saurabh. So with this, I close it because Sujata would then be telling about the time. Thank you very much. Over to you, madam.
Okay. Thank you everyone for all an insightful discussion. We can carry forward this discussion onto our during our networking and dinner. So technological advancements has long driven the pace of manufacturing, and we all know that technology advances exponentially and manufacturing continues to evolve. Nevertheless, the digitization becomes the industry standard. So yes, now once again, in the words of Henry Ford, if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. To reach its full potential, the manufacturing industry will need to continue to embrace a new technology. So with this, I will conclude this session and I will request Mr. Sandeep to take on from here.
How we as a partner are trying to execute that for our customers. So we would try to keep it brief. We understand that there's of course dinner waiting for us as well as it's a Friday evening. So thank you, sir, for the opportunity, and over to you, Sandeep.
Okay, perfect. I think you can hear me loud and clear. So what I'm going to talk about, two major things. I think you anyways know both of us, so I'm going to skip that part. I'm going to spend next 10 to 15 minutes talking about what has been SAP's approach towards Industry 4.0, given that we've been talking about it. We heard various themes today, whether starting all the way from how do we train our employees to sustainability to the emissions to how we can bring in agility, flexibility into our into our operations. When we from SAP look at the Industry 4.0, there are three priorities that we've been looking at. One is that whatever that you do, we need to keep our end customer always at the center of everything. And today we all understand that our customers have become impatient, our customers have become more demanding. So we need to ensure that even within our manufacturing, how can we bring the inputs, feedback from our end customer so that we are able to bring in the customer aspect into it. The second one is around reinventing the production, which is leveraging the intelligent assets, leveraging the processes so that we are able to dynamically adapt to what the customer is really looking forward to. And that's where the assets, the manufacturing operations come together. And the third is connecting the entire company, right? Because when we are talking about end of the day serving the end customer, now that cannot be just done by the manufacturing. We have to look at the sales function, we have to look at the warehousing function, we have to look at the logistics functions, we have to look at the asset or engineering as a function. We have to bring all of that together so that we are able to move the digitalization and Industry 4.0 from a factory-focused initiative to a company-wide competition beating business strategy. I think many a times when we talk about Industry 4.0, we try to contain that within our manufacturing operations. But I think the true potential of Industry 4.0 can come in when we start putting together these different pieces. When we look at the Industry 4.0, we largely bucket this into 6 broader areas. So one, of course, industrial automation. We all have spoken about that, whether it is the automation part of it, the connectivity part of it, the manufacturing network part of it. The second one is also the manufacturing engineering. And I think Sandhya ma'am was talking about she coming in from a product development experience. So on one side, we are doing the product development, but we also need to ensure that we are able to seamlessly transfer that to manufacturing as well. Because the way the product has been envisaged to how the product actually has to be manufactured, that transformation also has to be done seamlessly. The third aspect is around planning and scheduling, and we had a brief conversation about that as well. So how we can make our planning processes more agile. The fourth aspect is the manufacturing execution and insights. So Vishwajit was talking about the overall equipment effectiveness, Sonali was talking about the loss analysis. What kind of analysis are we really doing? What kind of insights are we really able to get from that? The fifth important aspect is warehousing operations, and the reason why I added warehousing operations was that nowadays we are looking at the big plants, mega plants where the volumes are extremely high, and we are seeing a lot of warehouse automation also coming into the play. So earlier, warehousing was seen as a supporting function to manufacturing. What we are seeing now is that it's an integrated function of the manufacturing. When it comes to how do you supply to the line, when it comes to when you make it, how do you give it back to the warehousing. And the sixth most important aspect is the assets and environmental health and safety. Now, there are various solution capabilities what SAP has. I'm not going to go through each of them. I mean, that's not really the intent. But yes, when it comes to these 6 broader themes or 6 broad areas, we have the corresponding solutions for that. Now, what I'm going to do is that just speak about a couple of areas where SAP has been investing quite heavily. One area is the modular manufacturing, and I kept hearing that word modular quite often during the conversation, which is how we can make our processes more flexible, how we can move away from those traditional conveyor-based lines to cell manufacturing. I can still recall in 2002 when I was doing my engineering, I was doing a project on cellular manufacturing, which was a big thing at that point in time, but then somewhere we lost it, and it's great to see that 2 decades down the line, we are once again talking about cellular manufacturing. So we see the need for modular manufacturing, but then that also puts the way you need to design your processes and the kind of solutions that you need to corresponding to that are also very different. And that's where we are looking at when you move to modular manufacturing, you also need to be able to arrive at the dynamic routing, because now you have multiple workstations which can do the same job. So can I dynamically take that call? Where exactly do I need to push the semi-finished? Second aspect also then is how do I manage the WIP? How do I manage that semi-finished? How do I manage that entire logistics within my manufacturing operations? Because that is also getting more complex now. And the third aspect is how do I supply to the line, or how do I supply to the cell? Because now we are talking about dynamic staging. So that's one area that we've been working or heavily investing. Now another aspect, since we were talking about, whenever we talk about Industry 4.0, there is always that thing, अरे यार ये तो पंचवार्षिक योजना है, आज शुरू करेंगे तो 1.5 साल 2 साल बाद कुछ output मिलेगा, and then that whole conversation about ROI, shall we really do it, shall we not do it? And that's where when we were thinking about this, we felt that I think the cloud, and Sandhya was talking about PaaS, product as a solution. So we thought, okay, we really need to have software as a solution when it comes to MES. Can we start within a week? Can we bring that innovation much faster? Can we at least start doing that pilot? Can we go live for a line within 3 to 4 months? So rather than making it as a Panchavarshik Yojana, can we start seeing the benefits of that in few weeks and not in many years? But then the next question is, okay, if it is cloud, but hum to plant chala rahe, then can I really run those operations or not? So that's where we thought we also need to have edge computing on those lines, so that if there are latency issues, if there is a network outage, how can I still ensure that I'm able to run my manufacturing operations? So that's another area where we have been working quite extensively. So though you are running your manufacturing operations in the cloud, but you still have edge computing to ensure that you are able to run your manufacturing operations seamlessly. So though I have talked about it, I would also like to give you certain examples where this is already working. One example, this is a company which is actually into boiler manufacturing, a company in Latin America. And since it's boiler, so typically it's a low volume, high variety game. And they embarked on this journey. Few things why they went for it was they wanted to have one central reporting tool. They also wanted to bring in a lot of standardization. So they had 6 facilities, multiple lines. So they wanted to bring in that standardization within the solution. Important aspect is they also did integrate with non-SAP ERP. So this is one customer which does not run SAP ERP, but they did that. And what are the benefits what they got? They were able to improve their first pass yield by 25%, which is quite amazing. And they were able to improve the operational efficiency by 16%. So one example, which is low volume, high variety, and in fact, Systema was involved into the implementation of this.
And we did it in a period of 24 months. So from the design to delivery was 24 months. Thanks to SAP, we could get the MES running within a week because this is on the cloud.
Yeah.
Sure. Next, over to you.
The second example, I wanted to give a little different example, which is coffee production. So this is a Swiss-based company which is into manufacturing of the coffee beans and the coffee powder. So they had very interesting use cases about digital shop floor meetings. And in one of the conversations we were discussing about, okay, fine, there was a time when we had all these paper-based things, but today when we are looking at OEE, can I look at the OEE across all my facilities at one go? So digital shop floor meetings, digital quality management, digital workplace, line monitoring, which is a digital twin. Can I, sitting anywhere in the world, can I look at what exactly my line or machines are doing? What exactly are they producing? What is the throughput? What is the yield? What it is getting? If there is a stoppage, on what account of it there is a stoppage? So very interesting use case. The third use case, what I want to talk about is more around AI and ML. This use cases are from Kaeser Compressor. I think most of you would know that they are leaders when it comes to air compressors. Three use cases what they had. One on the goods receipt perspective. So you would know that typically in compressor, a lot of tubes, rubber tubes that are being used. So they implemented this visual inspection so that they're able to shorten the inspection time. So that you are able to measure what is the angle, what is the inner dia, what is the outer dia. So that was one use case. Second was within the manufacturing as well. So a lot of visual inspection, a lot of measurements that is being taken care. Can that also be automated? Now, will this 100% replace the inspection? The answer is no. But wherever it is monotonous, can we, even if we are able to automate that by 60 to 80%, that will enhance the productivity as well as that will enhance the reliability. And the third use case was around the end of the line or functional test. And this is where I think the platform also came into the play. So can I develop these applications quickly onto the platform, do a quick test, deploy it and see how it is working. The fourth use case, a little different, is for Smart Press Shop. Now this is a joint venture between Schuler and Porsche. All of us know Porsche is into premium sports car. So they actually set up their plant in Halle, Germany. It's a completely lights out factory. Greenfield plant. They started the setup during the COVID and then they started their pilot and commercial production during COVID itself. And why they went about this was they wanted to have a zero IT hardware on site. So those days of, okay, I need to implement a solution, so I need to buy a hardware, do the configuration and go about it. They wanted to get rid of that. They had a fully automatic press machinery setup. And the third was about the everything is machine connectivity. And what they were able to achieve was 100% traceability and 100% cloud first strategy. And since they are making these press components for the Porsche sports car, you could imagine the batch sizes are extremely small. Generally, we tend to assume that, okay, if it is a press shop, the batch size would be larger, but here the batch sizes are really, really small and they were able to do that. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to play a quick 2-minute video and then I'm going to hand it over to Christian.
Thank you.
Smart Press Shop is a joint venture between Porsche and Schuler. We want to produce automotive body parts in one of the world's smartest press plants. Smart Press Shop built a greenfield factory with cloud solutions from SAP, including core industry and platform capabilities as the foundation for our Industry 4.0 initiative. We needed business and manufacturing systems that supported fully digital processes and complete paperless production. Working with implementation partner Syntax, we have business systems that are tightly integrated to an innovative manufacturing execution system. Our digitized manufacturing approach is a new milestone in automotive production. We have detailed component tracking that lets us use artificial intelligence techniques and cross-production analysis. This helps support our sustainability goals to minimize waste and reduce carbon footprint. Smart Press Shop also has fully automatic setup and press tool provisioning. This way, we can deliver even small production batches and stay ahead of the competition. With SAP, Smart Press Shop built a better way to serve the automotive industry.
Thank you, Sandeep. That was a fantastic project. We had a small hand in that, but then we also learned a lot. So the cloud is now a reality. So now, how do we do it? Because sometimes everything looks attractive, but when we go closer, we find that it is more challenging. So as a Systema team, we are available around the world, but what we are learning is every geography is different, every project is different. So what we thought about was we would try to give our customers or our partners a method of global learning. So as a first slide, I would like to see how it happens. So sometimes where to start, when to start, what to start with is also a challenge because every problem is not the same problem, right? So what we see is that the technology is very important. You have to choose your partner, but that's not the only thing because every partner comes with their point of view, their thoughts, and then sometimes the shop floor is not ready yet because it has got its own challenges. So you could look at global experiences, maybe look at something like the MISA standards to look whether it's a point of view, or look at DMDII in the US so that we can learn from other people's experience, and then don't go for a very perfect solution initially because 99% is possible, but that 1% costs 99% more in achieving. And when the things mature, it happens by itself because everybody wants a perfect to start with. When I go into a shop floor, everybody says, this is our opportunity, sir. We want it closed. Or else people will think that this problem they can solve later and they never come back. But what I tell people is, if you are 99% sure, you will find that next 1% of the way. So we always have this debate with the shop floor, but the point is that very simple, it's a combination of all the three. So this is our understanding. Maybe all of you doing the projects yourself, you will also maybe agree with us, or we can always have a point of view, a slightly different point of view. So going to the different part of it, right? How to go about it. So once we know that, okay, this is the overall overarching aspect of it, how to do this? So based on Systema's experience, right, we talk about integration because we are not always going to do a greenfield project. 99% of our projects is going to be brownfield. So, and those brownfield are going to be legacy machines or machines which is going to be ordered now. So how do you marry both? Because you cannot just drop away the machine and say, okay, now this new project will take a new machine. Then automation. When we go into the shop floor, we see that how we can help the operator, because operator, when they look at us, right, they think that, oh, one more activity to do, one more thing, taking away my time, stress on me. So how much back-end activities we can do automation, release their pressure. So it should be seen as a pressure release project rather than a pressure creating project. That is what we learn. After we do the automation, the optimization comes in. The biggest thing as managers we try to do, right, is achieve optimization, because all of us wanted to start with an ROI point of view. So the management always wants to start backwards. So visualization and optimization is the management's key buzz. But what we find is if we don't do the other two things, we are not going to get a sustainable program. And without sustainable program, we find that the challenge is halfway through, digitization fails and then people blame each other. And then they say that it's not acceptable or it's not going through, and then the vendor didn't think through. There's always 10 different ways of... and then of course, with cloud, there's no need for migration because it's going to be... So that is something future of manufacturing is per cloud. But how can we sustain the cloud? Because AI is coming in, ML is coming in, so there will be a new board in the next year maybe. How to learn, learning will be the next slide maybe there, or next point in that. So, what we did was that, how do we ensure that when we do a project, it's done correctly? So sometimes we get stuck in the last mile. If we make a business process right, 80% everybody agrees. Even 90% everybody agrees. Then that last 10%, somebody says my point of view has to be accepted, or this is the way we have been doing it for all these years. So we thought that we would do together a combination of virtualizing, which Robinson sir brought up. You do virtual, you test it, you accept different point of views because shop floor accepts what they see. They don't go by blueprinting on the paper and then they assume that okay, this will work. And then shop floor doesn't have the time. So when they come to the solution, they are 1 or 2 days before deployment. And then they say, this is not the way. Then everybody blames each other and then it goes into a top. So we say you should do virtualization. Sorry, I am going back. Sorry. Then you get a point of view, then correct it. And this also lays the foundation for process twins. Because after you go live, the time MES captures all the data, somebody has to do analysis. And for them to do the analysis, why not do it real time? Use this as a process twin and then let the process engineers keep monitoring it. And if they want to make a change in the process, don't bring it to my shop floor. Do it in the virtual system. If it works, as a factory manager, I will sign on it. So this is an opportunity because of Industry 4.0. So here we are using automation, MES, simulation tools, all these things are today available. As a partner, we are bringing everything together. So maybe you want to run the video. So this is a 4 or 5 minute video which I will walk through. So our team is trying to showcase this in the Hanover Fair coming up in the next month or so. So we have 3 machines. Maybe you want to shut off the audio. So what we did was we created small 3 machines. So and then we brought about that, as you can see, all the automation tags are today in fail status because we have not enabled the machines yet. And then this is the ladder logic, which is the automation team. But as you can see, my colleague is explaining that the machines will come through the conveyor and then we would have a small rework route and then maybe we'll move it into the packaging. So after this is completed. So the next step would be that after it goes through the rework route, because now we are going to show a failure occurring, that is the data is not getting collected, and then it will run through the rework and then it will go into the packaging part of it. So with this, okay, and then it goes into the packaging station. So the point is that now let us go into the tags. It would be like the tags which we would be starting now after the explanation is complete from his side that all the points are there. Now if you can see, all these things are virtual and it started with an investment of ₹1,00,000. So it's not a very big investment to prove certain point of view. So the thing is we have created this additional tags from the shop floor. So this also creates the automation engineers and the process engineers to understand things before they go into a completely accepting the solution as a part of it. So with this, okay, so we have only configured 1 machine to start off with because other 2 machines are more or less similar. So this MES is now, which is the screen which you are seeing at the moment, is a digital manufacturing cloud screen. It's a test bed. It's running in Dresden or in Frankfurt's data center of SAP. So we are now going to do a pump assembly. So we are going to choose a pump assembly workstation. And then it's going to work on the assembly center 1. So we have 3 assembly centers. We are going to choose assembly center 1. Yeah, it's going to move.
A single robot can handle 3 machines.
That is true, sir. But when they were trying to create this thing, right? Of course, we can keep all the 3 machines in the same line and then do it. We can do multiple FMS also. But the idea is that okay, that can also be shown as part of the library. The team which was innovating on this, maybe they didn't think to the full use case. So if we can have a use case like that, we can showcase that also. So definitely I'll take that as a part of our. So, but to add to what Sandeep was talking about, right? The response levels. This is practically the real-time response levels we are getting because we wanted to do it live, but we thought that the network and everything in the hotel may not be the perfect way to do it. But if you can see, the data is coming practically on near real time. So we would be starting the assembly process now. And we started it. So if you can see, the part will get released. So the idea is you are getting the automation signals. And now the robot will pick it up. We are trying to forcefully complete it. This is possible automatically also because your machines will have the automation. But we wanted to show that we are starting and closing it from the MES system so that the response levels and the level of today it takes only milliseconds for the data to flow from Frankfurt to your factory in somewhere in India. So our servers are physically located in Bangalore. So it moved to the next level and then we finished the job on the machining center and then we moved it into the conveyor. So it immediately moved to the next conveyor. Now we would be doing the testing. So the product will now be tested. But unfortunately, the product will not pass the first pass yield, so it will have to go through the rework route. So it will now be pushed by the piston, and it will start that the pump test has started. The work center has immediately moved, but unfortunately, it had 3 data collection points, and it didn't go through. So it's not a good scenario for us. So we will have to do the rework. So we will push it through the rework system. So the piston will now move it. So if you can see that failure, the signals have immediately turned failure. And the test trigger is going through. So now, along with this automation signals, right, you can also get the reason codes because these are all automated in the MES systems, right? You can get a reason code. And I think Robinson sir would have used some of these technologies to do his, what I would call as FEMA analysis or failure points to understand in the process. So these are all practically happening. The technology industry 4.0 is available. It's a combination of automation, simulation, and the MES systems. So thank you for the opportunity. And of course, I'm open to questions on this. Thank you. I just showed this work center, right? We have reactors also. The library of the simulator is reactor and DMC is having process. So it's a matter that we showed a discrete as an example. Maybe we can take a slightly offline and show you the process also. So reactor, what is happening within the reactor, the temperature sensor, you can get it in 2 or 3 seconds. So whatever reports today, I would say when I was at Orissa, right, Vedanta Lanjigad plant, they used to write it in a, what I would call as a shift report or something like that. Those things can all be simulated nowadays and then maintained so that you can monitor it from anywhere and they also need not capture it because it's a digital twin. Anyway, the MES is collecting. Now send it to this one also. It is going to come from the MES only. So the library is possible. Robot was just an example, madam. We can create it, sir. There is a factory IO is the tool. And they have what they call as software development kit. You can create your own factory shop floor on that tool. So we help clients make a business case, but we work reverse also, sir. basically we look at people who are trying to go global, or whose standards are becoming what I would call as complex. For example, you are entering a innovative market like biosimulation. So you are trying to be the global leader now. There's no business case.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's going to require that you have to get it right the first time.
So no, I get it. My thing is, when it comes to spending $1 on the table,
yes,
how do you make a good business case?
Yeah, so maybe I'll answer this question. So we do offer a service called as Industry 4.0 assessment. Okay, and as part of that assessment, one is there is the automation maturity, there is a process maturity, there is the intent, willingness, and then typically what we do is that we do a 2 days of design thinking workshop with the business, essentially to identify what are the use cases that we're looking at, what are the KPIs that we want to improve upon. And generally what happens is in a design thinking workshop is you'll have various ideas. And as part of the workshop, then you also prioritize the ideas with regards to what is the age of implementation and what kind of an impact does it have. And then you pick what are, let's say, those top 3 or 5 use cases. What are the KPIs that are going to get positively impacted? Where do we stand today in terms of KPIs? And hopefully those KPIs are already being monitored and measured the correct way. Generally, that's also a challenge that what we see. And then really work about, okay, if how much potential improvement that we do see, if let's say we do this, and then use and eventually convert that into in dollar terms. And then the business case will have 2 aspects. One is the quantitative aspect, which is hard money, that okay, this is the amount of money that you will save.
Correct.
But then there is also a qualitative aspect of it. Qualitative aspect could be around sustainability, qualitative aspect could be around training the employees, upskilling the employees, and sometimes it's also reducing the frustration, right? So
but that's the intangible part of it.
That's the intangible
but
part
then
of it.
Do you put your skin in the game?
When you say put a skin into the game,
do you have your revenues attached to the outcomes?
Okay.
Let me try to answer that. Sir, if we can do this type of outcome-based discussions, right? That, okay, this is what I want, I am signing on top of it, I am going to see a 5 to 10% difference. Why not? We are open to discuss it. But what happens is when the requirement is fully on the vendor, right? Sometimes it becomes difficult to accept an unknown challenge.
So no, so I'm going to go back to what you said. Pick up 3 KPIs.
Yeah.
Your diagnostic revealed that these 3 KPIs have a potential to improve by throughput by 5-10% or whatever your assessment says.
Yeah.
At a management level, there will be a question that okay, will you be still there till the time those 10% are realized?
No, see, it's difficult to say because see, eventually.
Then how do you build that?
See, we have to jointly own the KPIs. When I say jointly own,
nobody says it singularly rests on you.
No, true. The reason why it becomes complex is that for any initiative to become successful, as we say, people, process, and technology have to come together, right? So we can be that enabler, okay? But can we really guarantee the KPIs? It's a difficult one to answer, and that's why it has to be a joint initiative. We have to jointly own the outcome.
Nobody disowns that. It has to be a joint effort, sure. Yeah. The question is, would you stand by the commitments to realize the productivity gains, throughput gains, downtime improvement, significant drop in non-conformities or quality or safety and whatnot?
So, sir, as a system integrator,
it's a tough question.
As a system integrator, we can commit because SAP cannot be readily available, right, in every project to be. As a system integrator, we understand this journey. It takes 6 months, 1 year for you to stabilize the system and then come through. So as a system integrator, we continue a program called a support and we continue to be there. And we learn from our mistakes and your mistakes, which happens on the shop floor after we go live. Because sometimes how we intended to implement and how we implemented it, maybe we were talking to each other that it is 80% only. Rest of the 20%, we do it after we learn that. As a system integrator, we can commit. But as a SAP, I don't know whether... Sandeep can come in.
When for any, and I'm sure many of my colleagues would agree, any business transformation projects where significant dollars are committed, the management would look at the outcome and the commitment of solutions provider to realize those outcomes.
It takes 1 year for it to stabilize.
Undoubtedly.
Just to add and make it as a generic comment also, and maybe a little bit of appeal to media in that sense. Whatever global lighthouse cases have been there, probably those are not reaching the users. Like you ask the question of from users perspective, the end user perspective, how do you actually help to adopt the industry 4.0 technology? Probably the benefits of industry 4.0 as they have been experienced by the lighthouse cases, probably they are not reaching the level of the users. And probably those could be the best examples of to see that my type of industry, like I said, for my type of industry, which is discrete engineering fabrication industry, it's very difficult to imagine a complete automated factory. Okay, so now what is it that best has been done by XYZ company? And can I replicate it that? And who is the solution provider where I can approach? Now currently this is a gap. And again the question of whether it will fit in my budget. And is it going to give me, like I said, if I have to remove 5 people by investing 5 crore, it's never going to be acceptable in Indian case. Or for that matter, I was working for a European MNC for a couple of months and they wanted to set up a factory in India. Unfortunately, due to COVID, that project got abandoned. He told me that I don't want to invest in the way I have invested in my European factory. His European factory was fantastic, industry 4.0 case. But he's in India, I don't want to do that. I want to take advantage of the cheap labor in India. So there is always going to be a trade-off between what you should invest in. But there is something which is a must now, which is on digitalization, some mechanization, some automation wherever it is required. Like I said, de-skilling and ensuring quality with variable quality of labor. So those are the aspects where we need to definitely invest in. But if we get to know which are the test cases and how they have done it and what technology they have used, probably we can move it much faster.
Thank you for that input. And having case studies and knowing who all will be able to make such kind of solutions for industry is a helpful thing. And I take that feedback and I will try and implement in the magazine as well as on our platform. But yes, as SAP is one of our partners wherein they are trying to showcase what are the case studies which they have implemented, and this is such kind of a forum wherein we are trying to showcase each industry. For example, if you look at in this panel, each one of you are from different varied industries. So if Sandhya is from healthcare, she is from the mining, and automation is here. We have tooling industry. So every industry will have different kind of experiences. Even if they use the same kind of solution, everybody will come up with different outcomes. So SAP is here to help, and they have certain case studies where they have implemented their projects. So this is a forum wherein we can talk about what we have done in our factories and what they can offer and how we can mutually benefit. We will be taking that forward in our magazine as well as on our website, and we will continue this conversation where technology providers like SAP, how they can help in manufacturing, what are the solutions that they can provide, and what are the case studies that they can showcase to help you understand what they provide. So we will definitely do that.
I will add one piece of information for us to get to know the various perspectives, what other industries are doing, plus a specific the example of what SAP can offer.
See, just for information sharing point of view, I will explain you my experience with General Motors. General Motors, that time, I'm telling you, it was 6 years back. We had factories into all different locations globally. And just to take the proper decision, right? You mentioned the European company don't wanted to go the automation in India. Similar kind of thought process, we prepared 9 scenarios 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 matrix, 3 by 3 matrix we have prepared. And each matrix had those attributes attached to that square. And that square will decide what level of automation will be going, right? And in that particular geography, with that particular product, with that particular level of automation. So every factory, even that is still being used actually. I was part of preparing that blueprint. So it is still being used. That each factory, before you start taking the decision what kind of that plant should be, they still go through that 9 matrix. And then they pick up which fits the best case scenario, and what is described for that best case scenario, accordingly that factory will be built. Then it can be anything, fully manual, semi-automatic, fully automatic, completely robotized, completely mechanized, partial mechanized, everything is completely mapped into that. Pick that square and implement the factory or build the factory according to that.
To a point, I would like to add a point here. Sandeep, I think this is a learning experience for all of us. And we know that India, being India, we are all price sensitive, we are people sensitive. Complete automation is, though we talk about ChatGPT, we talk about digitization, automation of plants, it is still a distance to cover. So how do we kind of integrate people, automation, digitization? That is something that we need to take forward as a discussion.
So before I give it to you, the reason why I asked you this seemingly tough question is because I think each one of us, when we champion a cause and go to management, our neck is on the block, okay? So the idea is not to put you on a spot here. The idea is to see, absolute one. And I mean, the tough dialogue that you have with management when you make a business case, because you are after all outsider. We have that battle to fight in the company. So.
And moreover, in this journey, I would say, once we come up with the POCs, the proof of concept, the expectations change, right? So definitely we need a, realistic business case at or the baselines exactly what we can achieve through this at the initial stage. Rather, otherwise it is never ending. It's a never ending game for Indian industries or for discrete industries, for MSMEs, probably for big giants who are into mass volumes. Definitely, it's a good case study. But for majority of the industries, it is still a dream.
I have a very different view from all of you, including Sujata. If you go to the market today, even the Pani Puri guy uses GPay. That's the speed at which rural India and the even illiterate people in India are getting digitized. And here, as an industry, who's making them digitize or giving them jobs is thinking that they will constantly remain not so digital, hence we should not digitize our premises. If you look at the labor conditions right now, you will see that the gap, we need to measure the gap. How long are we going to sustain this cheap labor tag in India? We may have population tags still with us, but cheap labor tag will go away because every worker, with our mission and our vision, and definitely that is the purpose of government and us, all of us, we are making literacy go to the next level. So everybody who's going to be 18 in next couple of years is going to be literate. Why will they do the physical labor the way we are doing? They're so informed. They all use smartphones. Of course, they will want to come to our companies which are smart. So I think, to your point, we have to just find out some good consultants or some good college students to come back and say, when will India start feeling the pain if we are not digital, whereas the mass which will come to work for us will expect you to be digital because everything else is digital. Banks are digital. Every railway station is digital. Every food store is digital. Their phones are digital. They are into e-commerce, but you expect them to come to your factories and then say, no, we are cheap labor, so we will give you nothing. I think that will be a big fiasco for us, and that's where you will start seeing laborers running away. By the way, going outside India and working is becoming much easier right now. So we may be creating, I think, to your point, where people come and say, I want to utilize India because it is a cheap labor. We have to educate people it is not. And if we have to learn from anybody, go to outsource BPOs and IT industry, you will realize they are becoming more expensive than America right now. So I think from us, but we all will retire by then when this problem starts. So we can just hide our head and say, it is not my problem. But to be future, when we talk about future of manufacturing, I think we have to be mindful that the next generation laborers are also going to expect smart and digital factories.
But
They
true.
will not work in the factories which we have right now.
Very true. I want to know your viewpoint as well. We day in, day out breathe this. And I have a luxury to meet a lot of people on the ground. So I'll start from where you left. So आज के दिन में हम लोग सब लोग पेटीएम किसके वॉलेट में कैश है देखिए शायद किसी was this a situation 6 years ago? No. क्यों ऐसा हुआ? Because we were forced into this. Demonetization forced into this. So we accelerated, right? If it was given a choice, we never would have done so rapidly. Let's be honest. If it was a choice. When we talk about Industry 4.0 and all these things, बहुत लोगों को jargon ही लगता है. And the reality is, because we talk a lot of big words which do not make sense. I'll be very honest. So, to make this change, a disruption has to come. Disruption comes in different forms. And the disruption has already come in India right now. And the disruption has come because of the opportunities that is created outside. अब लोगों को एक एग्जाम्पल जो मोबाइल फोन हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं आप लोग सबको पता है इंडिया में अभी मैसिव नंबर में वो बन रहे हैं अब लोगों का मान लीजिए कल सर आपको आ जाए कि आपको एक ऑर्डर है आपको 10 लाख पीस हर दिन बनाना है then you will worry about how to do that and then that is going to force that is a similar situation to demonetization that is starting to force मैं करूँ कैसे जो सर का जो पॉइंट था that is hitting on the nail आदमी ही नहीं मिल रहा है आदमी ही नहीं मिल रहा वो काम करने के लिए तो आज के दिन जो डिजिटाइजेशन या इंडस्ट्री 4 जो भी हम बात कर रहे हैं द प्राइमरी रीजन वी आर नॉट एबल टू गेट द क्वालिटी वर्कफोर्स एंड द ट्रेनिंग इज नॉट अवेलेबल सो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या होता है जब पॉइंट विच आई वांटेड टू नो ऑटोमेशन इन इंडस्ट्री व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट ऑटोमेशन फर्स्ट थिंग वी थिंक रोबोट्स बट अगर मैं एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग लाइन में अगर मैं रोबोट लगा दूं तो मेरा जो रिजेक्शन 2% है ना वो 20% हो जाता है Why? Because the process is not consistent enough. So robot तो केवल in out करेगा ना. The process is not there. So that's why I always talk about let's be pragmatic, let's be realistic. तो जो simple steps of automation है, जैसे कि जो चीज जिसको पहले हम automate कर सकते हैं, we need to do that. So when people come to projects for you, because you always look at and audit those processes, क्या आपकी बात वो सुनते हैं कि rather than just having a robots, let's look at some of the upstream processes and what influence are you able to have? Because if we don't solve that, हम ultimate efficiency gain हम नहीं दिखा पाएंगे in real. If it makes sense, I don't know. I just thought from my learning experience.
So as a system integrator, I can tell you, it's always 50-50. 50% we are able to convince, other 50% we better listen. So what happens is, we reach an incremental step, but as I pointed out to you, the solution settles down in 1 year. Solution gets real benefit feedback, that next level of solutioning, right? It happens at the end of 3 years. So does our customers have the patience? Today we are seeing that it's happening. 5 years ago, everybody thought I'll put up one more factory. Because they wanted it that they were 100% sure. Today, they are asking, I have 5 factories. Can I get 5% out of each factory so that I can get that 25% going? Today, because again, it all comes down to land prices, people. Can I do something more important? Already processor. Can I improve my shop floor? all these ecosystem has to develop before people start listening to us or we start listening to them. That situation is happening, as you pointed out, Dr. Sanjeev. Yeah.
Just want to add one more point is that generally in India, what we see is that either we don't want anything or we want everything. या तो कुछ नहीं चाहिए या फिर करेंगे तो फिर सब कुछ, the ultimate moksha kind of scenario. I think where we miss out is that there is a middle path, which is we need to start small. I'm completely with you is that fully automation is not possible everywhere, and even if it is possible, it comes at a huge cost. And that's where starting small, identifying those use cases which will add value, which will give you quick wins, and not wait for 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. And the moment you start small, show the benefits to the management, then definitely the buy-in starts coming in because you have tasted that success and you know it works. Then the question is about the scalability, but you always pick and choose. You don't want to do automation for the sake of automation because somebody is saying Industry 4.0 or somebody is saying lights out factory, right? So I think that's the change what is needed. As I said, unfortunately, sometimes the thought process is कि या तो कुछ भी नहीं करेंगे, जैसे है वैसे ही चलने देंगे, या फिर अगर कुछ करना है तो big bang ही करना है. I think that thought process needs to change at all the levels.
And there can be a possibility of getting into OSP into it. Like, the companies can come with the outsourced model saying that we implement and we are on the shared service, right? We show you how this level of productivity and then we share like the way we are doing leasing.
Right.
I think something like that. More on the digitization because, at the end of the day, hardware cost has to be borne by somebody.
True.
But my worry, and this worry has been, that's why I said when I entered, the two things which I think. One is with the EV coming into play, with everything getting into that semiconductors and chips kind of thing, it won't be possible to be manual. Not at all. It won't be possible to be manual. Your tolerances and stack up tolerances are going into microns now. Your fuel, we're talking about 5 microns, right? So with that kind of thing, you have to get into automation. When, how soon is the answer? You have to find yourself because where you want to be in that entire chain. Otherwise, somebody from outside will get that business. So that was one. The second one in my mind, and which is a very futuristic thing, which I have. It's like we living in Mars kind of thing. But I think factories should also become like malls. That they, with these small chips made in 100 different parts, I think companies should come up with this compact factory kind of scenarios because some of these factories just need 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet kind of thing. And for that, having this entire spread of industry like MIDC and all is not something which is required. And I think other countries like China and all have already started going upward in the factories.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we should look at because that helps saying, I am a cluster of industries which serves this particular cluster of product. And that cuts down the time, it cuts down the need of land, it cuts down the labor problems, electricity problems, so many things because everything is compact and it's just next door. So like the way we used to have vendor parks earlier, I think we have to have industry parks now.